Hi there, my name is Richard Shaw.
And my name is Editor Richard Shaw.
I am an engineer, I am an unlicensed professional trainer and nutritionist, and I have been working on Sweetie Viti, the original healthy sweet tea, for quite some time now.
This video is meant to show off a failure of mine, so that you understand that I went through this giant process and it didn't come out as pleased.
My product has a lot of health claims that I need to be very careful about, and I need to prove them right.
A lot of these health companies make these claims about, oh, how we're the absolute best, but they don't actually test it, and if they do, it's for marketing purposes, which it is. This is still a marketing-oriented thing, but it's really meant to showcase every aspect of the product as deeply as I can, or not even every aspect, but at least some aspects that maybe have not been widely tested before. One of my product benefits that I believe it has, but has not been proven to be correct yet, is something I like to call foolproof fasting, which basically means the product will help you in your fast. Like, you can actually take it while you're fasting, and it will help you add duration, add time to your fast, so you can enjoy your day without feeling overly sluggish or just overall hindered by something that makes you healthier. This is part of a broader set of experiments that I will need to take with not just myself, but other people as well, because I might have a different genetic response to a certain stimulus or a certain food, and my family member might have a different response, and you might have a completely different response. Everybody is slightly different, at least genetically. And I need to figure out with multiple test subjects that this is actually true.
As part of checking the blood sugar, let me explain how and why I'll be taking the test. It is currently 2:33 p.m. and I have not eaten food since last night at 6 p.m. And I told myself today that I would not start my test until after 12. So that means I would have had a 16-hour fast. Setup took longer than I thought, and so now I've been fasting for 20 hours basically. First of all, why is fasting important? Why am I bringing this up? So a quick summary. Fasting makes your body heal a lot faster. Your body replaces old cells with new ones way quicker because your body isn't eating and using energy to digest the food. When you fast, you only get energy from one source, the fat inside your body. Your body starts using your fat for energy instead of sugar that you get from your food, and you lose fat. The incredible part is your body starts by losing the most dangerous type of fat, visceral fat. Visceral fat sits in between your organs and kind of coats them and actually acts like it physically functions like another organ. Too much of it can really damage your health. And I mean way more dangerous than like the huge amount of fat that you typically see on the outside. This stuff on the inside is way worse. For reference, this right here is 100 cubic centimeter of visceral fat. This is the maximum amount of fat, the most fat that you can have and still be classified in the healthy zone, like healthy amount of visceral fat. This right here is 130 cubic centimeters. This is a 30% difference. So you're probably wondering, how much damage can it do? Well, there was a 5-year study from the Cooper Clinic in Dallas, Texas, which isn't actually too far from here. They took 291 patients who were middle to upper class, people who could basically afford to eat healthy if they wanted to. Over the study, a third of the patients died, and the biggest difference between the people who lived and the people who died was that the people who died had only 26% more visceral fat in their body. You see how small the difference is between these two? It's like barely nothing. Well, that tiny change made a huge difference. So you're probably wondering, how do you know if your body is burning fat? Well, whenever your body digests something, you have to go to the bathroom to get rid of whatever your stomach didn't like and didn't want to absorb. Same thing when your body is using fat as fuel, when you're burning fat. It comes out when you breathe, like you breathe out and little molecules come out, little particles come out. And it also happens when you pee. That waste product is called ketones. They are produced by the liver when the body breaks down fat for energy instead of sugar. When you haven't eaten for a long time, your blood sugar balances out and then you enter ketosis, which is actually why it's called the keto diet. And keto is basically when you have low carbs, aka low sugars, that enter your bloodstream. On one hand, your body starts to enter ketosis anywhere from 14 hours of not eating to about 24 hours of not eating. Younger people, like myself, start ketosis sooner because younger people typically have faster operating bodies. And since I'm 23 years old, I decided that a 20-hour fast would be more than enough to start the process. And by process, I mean ketosis. On the other hand, your body stops ketosis when your blood sugar goes up. So if I were to have traditional sweet tea with like 100 grams of it per pint, I would be kicked out of ketosis. So, long story long, what I'm testing today is both my blood sugar levels and my ketone levels. To do this, I'm not just going to have a glass of my sweet tea. I'm going to have 4 glasses. This is 4 pints of sweet tea, which is the same as 4 servings of my sweet tea. If my blood sugar manages to stay the same after I drink it, well, that means that my sweet tea has 0 effect on blood sugar. I know this sounds unbelievable, but that's why I need to prove it. Because if this is really possible, that's fantastic. The product works as I designed it to. I will be using ketone test strips that I have laid out over here to make sure that my body is making ketones, and blood sugar strips from Walmart. I'll also be using my phone, wherever the heck it is, it's over there, as a timer. I will also be having 2 flavors of my tea, light and shadow. At the 0-minute mark, when I begin the experiment, I will test my ketones and blood sugar and take photos of the results. 15 minutes in, I will test my blood sugar again and take photos of the results. 30 minutes in, I will test my blood sugar again and take photos of the results. 60 minutes in, I will test my blood sugar and take photos of the results.
When I was taking the experiment, you can see there are many points where I'm rather disappointed with the outcome, that it didn't happen as I thought it would. I originally thought what I had for my sweet tea would not raise blood sugars at all, but it ended up being completely wrong. It did in fact raise blood sugars. Now, not the same amount as like a soda, which would greatly raise blood sugars, but there are certain factors that I never considered that would raise blood sugar. First of all, caffeine. I don't think the actual sweetener in my sweet tea raised my blood sugars, but the caffeine inside it did. Caffeine turns out raises blood sugars. Number 2 is, well, whenever your body heats up, it releases hormones. And whenever these hormones start working inside your body, your blood sugar raises as well. Thirdly, it's a sweet taste in your mouth. And there's like some little functions that I'm just getting started into learning about. But basically, whenever you taste sweetness in your mouth, your blood sugar will go up, or like your insulin will spike, or something. I don't know the exact pathways behind it, but your body basically recognizes the sweetness on your tongue, and it predicts that it's going to have sugar in its system, so it sends the insulin or whatever, or it kickstarts whatever process in a very minute way, but nevertheless, that's another contributor. I will need to do testing with other people just to make sure that it doesn't actually break somebody out of ketosis, because I'm an isolated sample, and even though it wasn't showing any results on the ketone strips whenever I took the tests, well, I have a strong feeling that I was still, or at least starting ketosis, because later that evening I went out on a date and we went to Kava. There I ordered like some pita dish and then another pita dish because I was really hungry, and I was like, okay, I gotta get my calories in for the day. So I crammed that all in, and that was like 60 grams of carbs, and my body was literally like freaking out afterwards. I did not regulate my temperature as well, and I was shaky, like I was literally physically shaky, and I think that's because I gave myself a little bit of insulin related shock, like what do they call it? Refeeding syndrome. So I think by that point, because of my body's reaction, that I was actually in ketosis or deep in ketosis. But again, I need to test with other people.
And these are my results. So even though I was a bit worried about it during the video, the results actually ended up being pretty good. What I ended up doing is I ended up drinking like all 4 pints in like the first 30 minutes, like just to get as much in my system as possible. And we kind of peaked at around 104 milligrams per deciliter, which is actually pretty decent for blood sugar, especially given the fact that this is a substitute for sweet tea. And I mean, I guess most people will not be drinking 4 pints of it back to back like I did. 1 pint is more than enough to be satiated. But again, at its worst, it was only a 36 milligram per deciliter change from the lowest point, so my baseline, to like the all-time highest spike. And I'm actually doing some more research right now, and I have reason to believe that this may actually be a health benefit, which sounds a bit crazy, but I need to put that through the ringer to test fully. I still think it's pretty good for fasting, and I do need to prove that with other people, and I need to make sure it doesn't actually break ketosis, but the results look pretty promising. Now, I did include like some extra clips of me actually performing the experiment after this, so if you want to kind of go through and watch, I literally put like all the footage after this, and I just sped it up, to be respectful of your time. Take this, and I just... Ooh, that's a sharp little bastard. Oh, oh. Remove strip immediately, so that's... Oh shit. Okay, I guess I have to redo that test because they removed the strip like the instructions said. Wait. Oh, cool. Okay, I can just bring it up whenever then. Okay, now I can take a photo. So I'm at 68 milligrams per deciliter. Oh, oh hell yeah. Please let it be 68. I don't feel like anything higher. Please let it be 68. 81. $81. Okay. Moment of truth. Okay. 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 I'm actually really excited about this. 73 milligrams per deciliter. So it literally could have been heat related. So, okay, I'm getting excited. Okay, I'm excited. Let me make a chart of this actually. I'm gonna do that so it's like easier to understand, but that's a huge drop. Okay, and then this poor finger, and oh, I felt that. I don't like you, Mr. Stabby Stab. Okay, we are up at 91. That is not good. It's 104. Scary. I don't know what it is yet. 93. So it went down very quickly, might I add. Okay. Very interesting. I'm at 100. 100. I need to get a consistent chart because this is very confusing, to be quite honest. Okay. And then the blood, and then let's do... Cool. And that will be our last measurement for the day. Yeah, I know how to do it better next time. 84. Thank you for joining me today, and may you be healthy.